Greetings, beautiful people. I am Dr. William Minifield, Assistant Professor of Jazz Studies at the great University of Iowa. I have a special guest here with me today, musician, bassist, Blake Shaw. How you doing, Blake?
I'm doing very good. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, this is amazing. So glad to be hanging out with you today. And let's just jump right into it. You are from Iowa, Lisbon, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you've been here.
Yeah, I've been here, but I've traveled enough that I feel cultured, So I feel
So
like
you've been all around.
I've been.
So can we talk about that for a moment then? Where have you been playing? It took you around the states, the world?
I've played on the West Coast, the East Coast. I played in the South. The farthest that I've ever been is Australia. I did a 3.5 month cruise ship contract, and something that I don't regret, but I probably will never do again.
That's a long time to be on that ship, man,
Tell me about it.
So you've been a musician for a long time. Tell us about how you got your start.
I have been a musician all my life. I've been, you can ask my parents, I've been singing everywhere. I definitely started out as a singer. I was in all the choirs in elementary school all the way through high school. During my time where I was going to church, I did sing all the time. I was known as that kid that sang all the time. Wow. And just various instruments were learned during that time, and I was finding myself and my voice, and just now I'm here.
So eventually singing helped you kind of navigate your way to the bass, which is your primary instrument, although I know that you sing as well when you perform also. But talk about how singing eventually led you to the bass.
It was just a vessel to meet people. That community that I met by using my voice. I was making friends with the band kids. I didn't start in band until like my sophomore year of high school or something like that. We only had in Lisbon, Iowa, it was only concert band. So I had tried trombone earlier, but it didn't last very long. Took a few years off, and the jazz band needed a bass player. And I had been singing and playing guitar, and my band director knew that, and he knew that guitar and bass were similar, so he asked me to do that. Kind of the same story you hear from a lot of bassists. They kind of fell on this instrument because they were needed at a time that they didn't have one.
We always need bassists.
Yeah.
That's why bassists always work.
That's why I'm working all the time.
They live. That's right. That's right. So eventually then, what started as a necessity for your school became a passion for you.
I found that I loved it. I mean, I love helping people, and I love being there for people, and the bass was like the perfect instrument to do that. I mean, I was helping people paint the picture that they wanted for solo, and I'm speaking jazz now, for their improvised solos. And the bassist and the drummer are the rock that kind of holds everything together.
Absolutely.
And I really, really enjoyed that role. And I enjoyed it so much that at the beginning of my college career, at Kirkwood Community College when I started, I kind of left singing behind. And I just focused on upright bass for many years. And it wasn't until I really started booking my own gigs and passing out the money that I realized that I could make a little bit more money if I played bass and sang. So I was just putting another tool in my toolbox is how I kind of felt that it was in the beginning. But now it's kind of grown into something that I really enjoy doing.
That's amazing. And you take it very seriously. I know that after Kirkwood, you decided to pursue your bachelor's in classical bass, right?
Yeah. I'm not saying I was forced to, but at that time, the University of Iowa didn't have an undergrad jazz program. But I was kind of headed in that direction anyway. Like I mentioned, at Lisbon High School, they didn't have a string program. It was only wind instruments. So when I started really focusing on double bass, I was brought to the classical side first, which is I'm so thankful for. All my range comes from the classical side. And when I first came to the University of Iowa, that was the first time that I played in an orchestra. And that was the most powerful thing that I've ever been a part of. You know, just being with that many musicians playing the same tune at that piece. Peace. It was just so wonderful, and so I was so happy to do that degree, even though I was still doing a lot of jazz on the side.
Absolutely, that sounds amazing. So you finish and earn your bachelor's in classical bass performance, and then somewhere along the line, a jazz program develops at the University of Iowa, and you go to pursue your master's and ultimately earn that there as well, right?
So I actually took a year off in between the degrees, and that's where I did the cruise ship contract. At that time, I didn't really know that I wanted to go back to school. So I took a year off when I was gigging, and I did that cruise ship contract, and I just learned it wasn't for me, and I learned about what I really wanted to get from music. And just luckily at that time, UI was looking for a TA in the jazz department. So John Rapson, the late jazz director at the University of Iowa, we already had a great relationship, you know, a really true friend, not just an educator, called me up, and he knew I was looking for places, but he didn't know if I wanted to go to school. He offered this position, and it just felt right at that time, you know, to do something like that. And looking back, I'm happy that I got that. You know, I learned a lot, and I learned a lot from him and many other people. So I'm okay with it.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. And you stay busy around Iowa City playing, and not just Iowa City, obviously, but you stay busy here. And then I know you mentioned that you often play up in Des Moines at Noche and then various. So tell us a little bit about your performance career.
I just, when people we talk about this, I tell them that I'm hungry. You know, I like to eat every day. So I've had a lot of good teachers on teaching me how to reach out to people and how to communicate. And I've been lucky to be able to lead so many different groups that I have put together, but also I have a really, really healthy amount of people coming to me that want to play with me, and I think that mixture just really keeps me busy. I mean, I'm gigging every single weekend, and it's something that I love to do. Noche, the only full jazz club in Iowa, who is doing a great job at what they're doing, is so nice to me. They had me there, I think they've been open for 6 years now, 5 or 6 years, and they had me there in their first year, and I've been playing there several times a year since then. They're so nice to me with all my different projects and having me play with other people up there. Yeah, great place.
It really is a beautiful space, beautiful spirit there. I've always enjoyed my time hanging out at Noche as well. And you have kind of just grown up with the Iowa City Jazz Festival, right? Yeah. You've had different roles, you know, as both as a performer and behind the scenes. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, Iowa City's definitely shaped who I am. I have been going to the Iowa City Jazz Festival since I was in high school. So I can't name it for sure, but 2003 or 2 or something like that is my first. Well, that would be middle school, so a little bit before that. It was my first festival, and yeah, just like you said, I've had so many different roles. I think my first role after being an audience member was playing in a band from the UI Jazz Camp. Way back when, it's been a few years now, but the UI Jazz Camp used to line up the end of the camp with the Jazz Festival. So the camp combos all would have a spot at the festival every year. And that was cool. I mean, I will not lie, I felt super cool doing
that's awesome.
And then after that, I was a regular playing on the side stages with different people, college groups, some older people, and running my own groups. And now I'm on the board that picks the main stage acts, and I get to MC the stages, and I'm running jazz jams after the festival. And I just couldn't be happier, just to help provide such an important festival. I think one of the most important festivals in Iowa.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you come out July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 2022 this year. We got a lineup for you guys, so keep your eyes out. And that lineup is going to be announced really soon, so keep your eyes out for that. But we look forward to seeing everybody there.
Mm-hmm. For 3 days, back to 3 days. That's going to be fun.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned earlier, Blake, that you really like helping people, and that's one of the things that makes you so happy about playing the bass, because it's that role, right? It's the role where you're support staff for the band a lot of the times, and but you also teach. That's another way that you like to help people, and you're like a real teacher. You teach the little kids, like the age 1 through 5. Am I right about that? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I just stumbled upon this great school, this great private school in Cedar Rapids and Hiawatha, the Cedar Rapids and Hiawatha Day School, and it's a daycare for infants to kindergarten, but I work with the 1 to 5 year olds, and it's been wonderful because it's been a great job for me to have during the week that can support the money that I'm making as a gigging musician in Iowa, which sometimes is a little low. So, but I love it. I just love being around these little sponges that soak up everything that you tell them. I've gotten them excited about so many different types of music, and that's the most important thing. I'm not really going in there making little musicians that are going to be accompanying me on gigs or anything like that. I'm making these wonderful people that will appreciate art. I mean, that is my one goal, and they give me the tools to do that. There, it's a wonderful place.
That is absolutely amazing. So you yourself know how to get kids inspired about music. What would you say to parents looking to do the same? How would you look at a parent in their face and say, hey, here's how you get your kids inspired about music of different kinds?
It's all about the exposure. You have to look in yourself too and say, how diverse am I? What am I listening to as a parent? Because whatever you're listening to, they're going to be listening to. I still have deep memories of the music that my parents listened to. I don't really like the type of music that my parents listen to always, but it's still very, very special to me. So that's a big thing. And go out and talk to people. Let them know, let your children know that these are people, real people, and these goals or hopes of becoming a musician of any sort is so attainable by everyone. It's just, you just got to be around it.
That's amazing. And you're talking about different genres, different styles. Mm-hmm. But you actually play a lot of different styles as well, because it's not just acoustic bass, but you also play electric bass. And you do what you do in so many different venues, different genres. Talk a little bit about that.
I've just always enjoyed good music played well. And that's never just been pinned down to one genre of music. And I think just with my identity and the people that I've grown up with, and the universities that I've gone to, it's just, I can't see how you can't be diverse in a place like this. And part of my diversity absolutely comes from being a bassist. Everyone needs a bassist.
That's right.
And especially, I have a reputation for being able to learn music fast here, and sub and just be happy about it. We don't need to go into the negative parts of some people, but I just feel like I don't want to just do one thing. There's so many different people that I love to be around, and I'm not just gonna not help them out if it's not jazz or not classical music or the things that I've gotten in school or whatever. Like,
so what are some of these other genres or styles that you like to play?
So right now I'm in a really talented bluegrass band called the Savage Hearts with Annie Savage. She's a pretty legendary fiddle player around here. And then also I play classical music in orchestras. I play with the Muscatine Community Orchestra every once in a while. I play funk music, I play rock music, I play lots of different folk music, singers, songwriters. Honestly, anything that you can think of, anything that any of these wonderful people that I get to meet in Iowa City are into. Like I say, I'll play with you. It just ask, please.
That sounds amazing. Now, do you have any words of wisdom for young people that are looking to perhaps start a career as a musician? What would you, if you had something that you would really, really want them to know, what would that be?
Find the things that make you feel good. Those sounds that make you feel good, find out why they make you feel good. Transcribe, and know what those sounds are. Because as soon as you know what they are, not just a little tickle in your ear or something, but as soon as you know what they are, you're going to be able to help spread it around. And being a good communicator with those sounds is going to be one of the most important things as a musician, I think, for anybody. Absolutely.
That is amazing advice. Blake Shaw, everybody. You can see Blake and hear Blake first and third Thursdays at Goosetown Cafe here in Iowa City. Is that right?
We just announced we're going to start a little mini-series on the north side along with other Summer of the Arts programs. Like I said, first and third Thursdays, June through September this summer.
That sounds great. And what time is that happening?
That's going to be at 6:30 to 8:30. And another really interesting thing about this, so there's going to be a house band with myself, Dan Padley, and Christopher Jensen. But each week we are going to have a new guest artist. So we're going to have a different musician. And this isn't just going to be jazz. This is going to be just everything in my background. I'm going to invite all my friends to play. So 8 different times to see Dan, Chris, and I play with someone new.
That sounds amazing. I love that. I love that. Well, Blake, we want to say thank you for joining us today. Thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you, and we look forward to seeing and hearing more from you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.